Happy Friday. Welcome to Valley Resident. I'm Abby Alonzo. Joe Mitchell. What's good, dude? I'm in a good mood. I told you, I woke up this morning, I brought everybody coffee.
That was big for you. You were in a good mood.
I'm not a morning person, and normally I give some attitude. But today, I feel great. I think I'm excited for the game this weekend. We are going to preview that. We don't have Bryce Kuhn in studio today. He has some other prior engagements. But Joe and I can break down the game, right?
Yeah.
We got this. Easy. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, but we're going to give you an update on how that first baseball scrimmage went last night, and then an update on how the soccer team did in South Carolina. Before we get started, make sure to hit the sub button. I know I keep asking, we're 4 subscribers away from 100. That seems really small, but it's huge to us. So please hit the sub button. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to grow. You guys are awesome. Y'all are helping us in a huge way you don't even know. But we just want to continue to grow and get better and keep giving y'all that content. So hit that button. Okay, so baseball started last night. Fall ball, first scrimmage of the year. I saw a lot of new faces. I wasn't actually there. Anthony was there. Team looks good from what I've read and heard. Again, this is fall ball. It's earlier. Tommy White isn't even he's sitting out of fall ball. So, like, a lot of guys, excuse me, a lot of new faces. Just to backtrack, Tommy White had shoulder surgery, so that's why he's going to be sitting out of fall ball. But some stats for you. Michael Braswell, one of the guys we brought in, went 3 for 4 with a home run and 4 RBI. Zeb Ruddle went 3 for 3 with a double and 3 RBI. Paxton Kling went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a single. Hayden Travinsky and a stolen base, excuse me. Hayden Travinsky went 2 for 3 with a double, and Ashton Larson went 2 for 3 with a home run. So a lot of new names in there. Some of the old guys that you're used to seeing, like Travinsky. Paxton Kling got a little bit of time last year, but you'll see him much, much more this year. And then a lot of the guys that Jay Johnson brought in. So they look good. They'll have another scrimmage tonight at 5 at the box, and again on Sunday at 1, I believe. And that is open to the public. So if you want to go witness it for yourself, feel free to head over to Skip Bertman Field. The soccer team took another L last night to number 13, South Carolina. It was actually a much better played game than their previous game this week. They split time with possession, so it was pretty even on who had the ball the majority of the game in the first half. South Carolina kind of not ran with it because it was only a 1-0 ball game, but had a little bit more control in the second half. They shot 14 versus LSU 6, and 5 were on target versus LSU's 1. So in that second half, really just kind of played a lot more offense, South Carolina did. And Coach Hudson put emphasis on how proud she was of the performance and the team morale, but said she was disappointed that they didn't really get anything out of it. You know, you put in that effort, you're seeing the girls kind of stay grounded and keep high energy, play really hard, and you just come out with a 1-0 loss. It's tough to see as a head coach, I'm sure, but the effort was there, which is great for them moving forward because they'll host Tennessee on Sunday here in Baton Rouge at 4. Again, feel free to go support those girls. They're really good, and they don't get enough love. So go show the soccer team some love. Now we'll get to the fun part, Joe, for you. I know this is the part that you like to weigh in on.
The whole thing's fun for me. I didn't get to chime in on baseball, but we have so many left-handed pitchers in that bullpen. Like, it's going to be
which is
ridiculous.
That's a great asset to have, for sure. I'm sorry. I should have let you talk more baseball.
No,
I don't
all
know.
good.
Normally I just go through the news, and then when football comes around, you're like, okay, I have something to say.
Yeah, well, Jay Johnson said that at Arizona he always had really great defensive teams, really great hitting teams, but they struggled pitching. And he said that's a priority here, like that he wants to change. And so having all those lefties in the pen is really impressive.
And again, we've said it time and time again. He took care of this during the offseason, knowing that he was going to lose some of his best arms. He went out and grabbed more. So lots of lefties in the bullpen. I like the staff. We're going to see a lot more of them. So I'm sorry for not even giving you a chance to talk about baseball.
No, this is your show.
Still, I just didn't know you had anything to say. Sorry, I'll be quiet sometimes too. Okay, but I know you have a lot to say about this football game, right?
Yeah.
Number 23 LSU versus number 21 Missouri. This is a game that not a lot of people had eyes on before last weekend, because now you're looking at numbers and stuff, and you're probably thinking, okay, Missouri's offense is pretty good. In fact, LSU is first in the SEC, and Missouri is third. This could turn into another shootout completely. Brady Cook holds, he now holds the SEC record for the most passes without an interception. And Luther Burden, their wide receiver one, has 5 touchdowns and posts 15 yards per catch. So this offense is going to go toe-to-toe with ours. Now, I'm very confident in our offense, especially after what we saw last weekend. But does it come down to who can score more points?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Because Missouri's secondary isn't great either. I know. Go ahead.
To be fair, every game comes down to who can score more
okay,
points.
smart ass. That's not what I meant. You knew exactly what I meant. I mean, because you have an offense of such a high caliber, and our defense is just not doing it.
Yeah.
Missouri's in a similar situation where they have a high-powered offense, but their defense is struggling. So when I say, does it come down to who can score more points, that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
And, of course, clock management. Maybe whoever has the ball last.
Yeah, so kind of the way I'm looking at this one is I think the winning score, whoever scores more than 35 points wins, in my opinion.
So definitely hammer the over. I'll say that again. I think it's 60.
It's 64.
64. Okay. Take the over. Yes. I think coming off, so we can go multiple ways. Let's start with last week's game. That was a tragedy for us. They said it in pressers all week that this weekend is a statement game. And last season, they had a similar situation with Tennessee at home, where you had that blowout, and it was devastating, and people were pissed. And then they turn around and go, just get hot. Could that happen? Do you think that Ole Miss game could turn into a little bit extra, like maybe we go on a run here, maybe we not turn things around. You don't just turn things around overnight. But do you think that could be an extra kind of motive push in the right direction?
Yeah, I absolutely think it could be a push in the right direction. The reality of the situation is, look, LSU opened up as a 5.5-point favorite, and as of last night, that line had already moved down to 4.5. And you said earlier in the show that a lot of people didn't have eyes on the LSU Missouri game, and I think that's only because a lot of people were sleeping on Missouri.
Yeah.
Currently, they're 5-0. They're undefeated, and if you look back at their season last year, they didn't have a great year, but they went toe-to-toe with Georgia. So this is a team that, with the number 3 offense in the SEC, coming off a season where they did go toe-to-toe with Georgia and still have all those games to play for in front of them, if Missouri finds a way to beat LSU, like, we have to start talking about them as a team that could potentially fight for the SEC East.
So let's talk about our offense first before we start diving into our defense and how they handle Missouri's offense.
Yeah.
If you're Missouri, how are you attacking our offense? Like, what is your strategy here? Seeing that we're pretty balanced. You've got Brian Thomas and Malik Nabers, and then you've got Logan Diggs on the ground, as well as Jayden Daniels, who's able to move his feet. What's your strategy there?
Me personally, I'd follow the exact blueprint that Ole Miss laid out. I think you spread the field side to side, get guys in open field, and force LSU to make tackles. I mean, look, we missed 30 tackles last week against Ole Miss. So if you can get guys in the flats and in the hook zones, then that puts a lot of pressure on our defense. Now you have to start spreading out your defensive line. It opens up the run game. Corners have to start playing a little closer. You have to have zones in the flats, and then you can take the top off the defense. So there's lots of ways, if I'm Missouri, that I would approach this game. If I'm LSU, you have to focus. Look, 0 sacks against Ole Miss is unacceptable. You didn't get nearly enough hurries.
Right.
I think that's the priority if you're LSU.
Yes, to put pressure on Brady Cook. And if they, again, Luther Burden is their wide receiver one. He's pretty damn good. The players were talking about him in the pressers this week. LSU's strategy, I think, is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Fix the D-line. Because we know the secondary situation is the secondary situation. There's no one else coming through the door. These aren't things you fix overnight. It's going to take time. Brian Kelly did talk about when you're trying to do everybody's job, you're doing no one's job. So, again, he's been saying this for 2 weeks. It comes down to an individual doing his job. But again, you've got young players, you've got a lot of transfers. This is going to be a work in progress. Lord, I think the D line is where you start to remove some errors and play a little bit stronger. You want to see more sacks. You want to see Harold Perkins and Mason. And I'll say this, Mason Smith, again, coming off an injury. So, you know, his ability is, I don't want to say hindered, but he's coming off an ACL tear. So let's cut him a little bit of slack.
For sure.
But I think the D-line overall, you got to see more pressure from them.
I'll go even further than that. I think, look, the age-old adage, the best pass coverage is a great run defense, or there's a great, pursuit front seven. So I don't necessarily think it's just the D-line. I think if the D-line just plays assignment football, then it opens up the pass rush from the linebackers. You've had so much turnover in the linebacker department that if you can create a position for Harold Perkins where he can play free and do what he does best, which is rush the quarterback. If you can allow Whit Weeks to do that up the middle, if you can work in Omar Spates as a solid run defense type backer that's not necessarily pursuing the quarterback but is there in the gaps, then I think that changes the dynamic of the defense, because you ask any secondary in the country to play pass coverage for 6 seconds, it gets really difficult when you have a struggling secondary. I mean, you got to get there faster than 4 seconds, in my opinion. I mean, 3-4 seconds. You see what I'm saying?
You brought up his name, so just to give you all a little injury update, Omar Spates is doubtful, as well as Chris Hilton and Aaron Anderson. But you mentioned Whit Weeks. Is he used more this week? I know Kelly said Deshaun Womack would be in rotation, and you will see him this week. But knowing that Spates is probably not playing, hopefully you see a little bit more of Whit Weeks, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
We would imagine, but God only knows, right? They did bring in Pete Jenkins, and I know Mekhi Wingo said he was excited about it. You're always excited to learn from an analyst, bring in somebody else on the staff. Do you think he made an immediate impact, or is that going to be something that takes a little more time?
I mean, there could potentially be a schematic change quickly, but yeah, I mean, a week of coaching is not going to make the difference
at this point. I think, again, like I said at the beginning, this is a statement game.
I think the biggest change that Pete Jenkins can bring is attitude. I think that is the biggest thing that can change in 1 week.
And I will say, from what we've heard, they've been I don't think the morale has been busted, which it easily could have after the backlash they got from the fan base and from the media for that loss to Ole Miss. But, I mean, being in the room for those pressers, they talked about you got to maintain morale and enjoy the game and kind of let go of what happened, or you're not going to see any success. Jayden Daniels talked about it. Brian Kelly talked about it. Mekhi Wingo talked about it. So I think that's hopeful to know that, hey, they know that they have to go into this game and show exactly what they're capable of, or it's going to be downhill from here. Again, I think that Ole Miss game could have been a good thing. And in a weird way, I know we weren't happy about it, but I think it could be a good push in the right direction. So the key to this one, like if you had to break it down to one singular matchup or one key, what do you think it is?
Well, I think there's two. I know you're asking me one in particular, but I do think there's two.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at obviously Jayden Daniels and the wide receivers versus the Missouri secondary, and I think the exact opposite works for defense. It's a quarterback versus secondary duel all game.
Yes, I will say the LSU defense will have a slight, what's the word? Maybe not advantage, but like maybe catch a little break because Mizzou struggles converting third downs. We know our defense struggles to stop third down conversions. So that matchup being there may just be just enough to help our defense maybe even just get a little bit more confidence of getting off the field quicker. It's a small difference, but inches in this game are very important.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think you're facing the same situation on both sides. I think it's going to be another shootout. And what the spread's 4 now?
4.5. LSU's wet.
This very easily, and I hate to say it, could be another upset. I don't think it will be, though. I think they had enough of it after last weekend to turn around and be like, yeah, not again. We're not doing that again. We'll do just enough. We're going to do our jobs. We're going to get it done. It might not be pretty, and it might be another shootout, but I think LSU comes out on top. Speaking of, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 42-35 Tigers.
42-35. Okay, not bad. I like it. I don't give score predictions, but I will say I'm hammering the over.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to add? Since I didn't let you talk earlier, I'm going to give you the floor now.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. We will be back on Monday. We'll be doing another vlog when we have a home game next weekend, which I'm super pumped about. But we are going to round out with Tiger Tea. Just a little bit of Tiger Tea. The Savannah Bananas are playing in Alex Box on March 16th. If you don't know what that is, it's baseball meets entertainment. The guys are dancing on the field doing silly stuff. But it's very entertaining. Similar to, I guess, the Harlem Globetrotters of basketball. Tickets are going to be, they're always in high demand. So I don't know how they're going to go about this, but it is absolutely, they're all over social media, all over TikTok. It's really cool because this is the only college stop that they're doing on their tour. So LSU's got that in the books. They'll be playing at Alex Box on March 16th. And we'll keep y'all updated when those tickets go out. But we appreciate y'all for watching, and we will see